Ben-Mazwi, famously known as Lady Nam. Lady Nam is an acclaimed international actress. She's an award-winning entrepreneur, a business scientist, and the founder of She Speaks by Lady Nam, a women's empowerment movement. Now, recently, Nambitha was handpicked by Beyonce to appear in the visual album Black is King. And right after that, she landed a role in a Netflix first African dramedy, How to Ruin Christmas, The Wedding. And also, you would have seen her in Mzansi Magic's Grassroots, SABC One's Diamond City, as well as ETV Scandal and The Queen, to name a few. She was also in the Netflix US hit Black Mirror and appeared opposite Hollywood heavyweight Lawrence Fishburne in Madiba. We welcome Nambitha Ben-Mazwi. Welcome, Nambitha. Thank you for joining us.
I'm trying to be like your cheerleader. I'm like, yes, Tia.
That's a mouthful. You've done so much.
I am so proud of you. I don't even think I can intro myself like that. So well done. I was cheering you. I was like, you're remembering all of this.
I'm just amazed by this. And I want to ask you right away, because you grew up in New Brighton, Port Elizabeth. And growing up, did you ever think that you would be on television? Tell us about your childhood.
Sure. Did I ever think I'd be on television? Funny enough, I had this confidence about me, and I knew that the stage and TV and the lights and the camera and so forth were truly my destiny. So it wasn't something for me that was far-fetched. And I think coming from a family of goal setters and groundbreakers, and coming from, a history of my uncle, who is a Tony Award winner, Winston Chona, my grandmother, who's put our family name on the map, with the street name, and she broke boundaries. And being raised by my mom, who had this attitude of there's nothing you literally cannot do, it wasn't something for me that was not attainable. And funny enough, my first moment on stage was right there at Wood of Faith on the platform.
Wow.
And I was 3 years old, and I got a solo when I was at Noah's Ark, because I have been at Word of Faith since I was 3, funny enough. Yeah, 3, Noah's Ark preschool. And we had a nativity play, which we would have every year.
Yes.
And I was given the solo of singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So that was like, okay, actually, I'm very comfortable on the stage, and I really, really started utilizing my spiritual gifts of performance arts right there, with the Richard Montes musical productions. I don't know if you remember those. Those were incredible
as well.
Yes. Exactly. Yes, incredible. I remember actually. Yes. So in a way, yes, I always knew. Although you know how God works when it comes to when you're making plans and you think you're in control and you've got this all figured out. My journey has been, I always like to say it's like a circle, who I was as a child, what I always wanted to do. And I always say to people, especially through my She Speaks by Lady Nam, I always say to young girls and boys alike, go back to that drawing you first did, when they said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you had to draw what career that was. And for me, I had a mic and I was on stage, and either I was singing or performing. And as I obviously started, veering off of that, I was like, no, this is not me staying true to myself, and I had to go back to really see what my true core purpose is. And I went back to that drawing I made, basically, of this is what I want to be when I grow up. So yeah, that's my answer in a nutshell.
Now, before I ask Nambitha another question, I just want to encourage you, please share this link with your friends, with your family, watch it in a watch party. Let's all enjoy Nambitha's journey. She's going to be talking about how God moved in her life and what she's achieved. And I know that we can learn a lot from her. Nambitha, my question to you, there must have been some hurdles that you faced in getting to where you are now. What was the biggest hurdle for you, and how did you overcome that?
Tia, there are so many, but I think for me, I think this is something that's a continuous hurdle and a challenge. And I think we all face it in our own ways. And it is, and funny enough, this morning's service at CRC, which is the church I'm planted in Johannesburg, Pastor At focused on, this throughout Deuteronomy, God is always reminding, like, remember, what happened when people perished and the land, and it's a mindset. God kept repeating that this is a mindset. We can get into our own way, honestly. We can get in our own way often, all the time. We know the promises that God has for our lives, but we get in our own way. And I think for me, it is I call it the root, the little creepy crawly that really can hold us back from fulfilling our destiny, which is self-doubt. And that for me is a constant challenge that I'm always trying to master. It comes in very different forms. Funny enough, I overcame it through one of my roles, and I love what I do as far as my calling, which is acting, which is one of the facets of obviously everything that you mentioned. But for me, it's my therapy. I grow so much in every single character. For me, there's so much purpose I put into my characters. And when I played Benati's video, who was this defense attorney on Diamond City, who also had to overcome self-doubt, who's thrown in the deep end and was just, everything was against her. The circumstances were against her. And it's that thing of literally the daily affirmations and understanding and knowing your true identity in God, God's promises, claiming it, living in it, and getting out of our own way, shifting that mindset. And it's it happens every single time, and you overcome it, but it will come in a different way when you're entering higher levels now. So for me, I think it's the continuous journey of overcoming self-doubt, if I have to pinpoint that.
Now, added to that, you also now in the public eye. So any self-doubt, anything that happens in your life now has come into the public eye. How have you dealt with that?
I think very good. I've been very strategic. Thank God my business science is here. I'm not a typical artist when it comes to that. I studied business science for 5 years at UCT, worked as a strategist. So I'm very strategic. I treat my career as a business. I have different facets. I draw up plans and strategies. I have my team, and we make sure that every single thing, and I'm sure you've seen in the little bit of experience from us interacting leading up to this, that everything has its protocol and is approved, right? Because being in the public eye and anything that could be leaked out there, your personal brand, if you're not taking extra care of it, there's just so much. You have a spectacle of people who are looking. You have a greater responsibility because everyone is looking and everyone is watching. So it is so critical for me, and I've made a conscious decision to lead a very private life. So my private life, my day ones, my family, my loved ones, all of that I keep so close to my heart, because that's really where my treasure lies. And I don't put it out there. I stay clear of the controversies and the Twitter rants and all of the tabloids, and I don't get caught up in that at all. So for me, it's also just the constant reminder of standing firm in my vision, my why, my purpose, and that always being the way I'm founded on. So everything needs to make sense, because it's like, this is what you're here to do. This is what you're called to do. This is our vision. This is what we're doing, and we're doing it to be an example of God's glory. So that keeps me aligned every single time. So that helps. But it's not easy. It really isn't easy.
Okay. I can only imagine. Now, speaking about purpose, I know from hearing you speak that it's very important to you to make an impact on people's lives. And I just want to know, have there been moments where you have felt God's favor upon you, or God moving you in a certain direction in your career, in your personal life, and in the initiatives that you've taken?
Sure. The biggest testimony for me when it comes to that is She Speaks by Lady Nam. That was not planned at all. That really, I remember actually I was at service, I think it was 2016. Yes. And I had landed my biggest South African role, which was Broken Vows, and I was playing Lulu. And now this is me every single night on primetime TV, 8 o'clock, great show. And the audience is across Africa. So I started to see how me just being myself, standing firm, and I'm an advocate of dark skin magic. I always say that I stand firm for that, and inspiring young girls as well to accept themselves, to love themselves, to get over self-esteem issues. And I'm very vulnerable and open in my interviews and so forth. I shared about how I was teased for being dark skinned when I was younger, and the important role my grandmother played in entrenching that self-esteem, that strong self-confidence, and that I carry, So with that being said, I started to see God's hand literally, upon my life. And I remember praying and saying, God, I'm ready. Use me, use me, use me. I have this platform. I'm on primetime TV every single night. This is the audience. I have these followers. This is the time for you to have your way. I literally remember surrendering my life to him at that point, and I said, this is for you. I've now answered the call. I'm living my true purpose. I've made a promise to stay true to myself, and every single decision I make, I pray about it. Everything, like every brand partnership, absolutely everything. So that's when I started seeing girls start reaching out to me, opening up to me via DMs. And I'm that person who takes the time to reply to every single person. I get caught up. I'm an empath as well. So my manager used to say, listen, you can't be like taking this on too much, and just even recently, there's a young lady who's facing really, really difficult time. And this has happened twice now, where I've had to stop and I carry it, and she's wanting to take her own life, and then I take on that responsibility, and I'm praying for her, and she's opening up. And I just started finding that a lot of young women were opening up to me. They would stop me in the streets, and they would start saying, listen, your role has made me think this, and this is what's happening in my life, and so forth. And I started to see this impact that I was having, and the pull towards my passion towards young girls particularly. And that's where She Speaks by Lady Nam was birthed, this woman empowerment movement, which is based on finding your voice and living in purpose in all walks of life. So that really was where I saw God. And I mean, it started off with a little meeting during Women's Day, and just the breakthroughs, the stories, the feedback, it's just been absolutely incredible just to hear the young girls say, when I opened up from your first She Speaks, now I'm doing this, now I'm helping other young girls go through this. You shifted, you helped me take this burden off, and I didn't feel alone. And now I'm using my story, to help others. I mean, the incredible feedback, I could tell you so many amazing stories, but that's really where I saw God's hand over my life. And now She Speaks by Lady Nam has gone national. Now it's partnered with Global Citizen. Now it's gone global. I mean, and this has never been formalized. There's not been much I've done. No funding, absolutely nothing. It's purely God. And this was a testimony. This was birthed in prayer. And I'm just so proud. And that's where I truly see God's hand over it. So, yeah.
Now, when we first spoke before tonight's interview, I said to you, there's a question that I want to ask you, and it's something completely different. Now, your role in The Queen, you've described it as your most difficult, your darkest, but also your best work. How does it feel to play somebody with a mental illness? How do you get into that role, and how does it affect you actually after you've played that role? How does it affect your life? How does it feel to play that dark role?
Woo, Shaquisha. Honey, with the double E. Okay. She was an American girl. Yeah. She was an American girl from Brooklyn. So she was so much fun. I really got to play, and I got to obviously tap into my American accent and stay in that as well, because I'm on a South African set, and everyone is, it's easy to snap out of it. So I had to walk in the dialect, and I never switched off, and also I'm a method actor. So I already live it. And I remember during that time, I also messaged my mom, and I'm like, I'm going to need you to check up on me and my best friend. And I'm like, I'm going to need you after set every single day to just give me an hour and just bring me back to myself. I had to find new coping mechanisms of de-rolling. Whereas usually I would just have a little time out, take a bath, and whatever traumatic experience I had to just live through my craft, I just cleanse it all out. But with this, it was very difficult because I would have 10 scenes back to back in a day, and they'd be very dark scenes where I was now going through the meltdowns and the hearing voices. So Shaquisha had paranoid schizophrenia, and the process of me going into the role as a method actor, I studied it, I got all the as much research on the illness. I asked permission from my friend whose sister suffers from it, and got to speak to her and ask her, and it was a lot. It was a lot. And, with being a thespian, what I love about it changes you. You cannot help but become more empathetic. Because what you're doing is you are people watching, you're understanding people, and you are becoming other people. And so a part of yourself always is left in a character, and you need to dig into your own dark areas, your own, strongholds or bondages or traumas that you need to work through. So it's also it's the bravest thing, being an actor, because you're now forced to tap into areas that most people don't want to face, in order to really tell a truly authentic and give of yourself fully into your roles. So it took a lot out of me, from just hearing voices and having those meltdowns. And I remember my friend's sister who suffers from this says, no, those things are really real. You're not paranoid. You truly believe that this is happening. So, you get stuck in it. And I remember my director and DOP at the time, they were struggling, they were having nightmares because they're watching it happen, and they check up on me and say, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And they'd say, yeah, like I struggle sleeping, so I hope so I got a lot of support, but my de-rolling had to be different, so I'd get in the car, I'd put in some praise and worship. That always helps me a lot, because no matter what's going on and no matter how many roles, that's how I get back to grounding myself and finding my identity again and who I am. So usually praise and worship helps, and I start getting back to myself, speaking to family and friends, because they're gonna even say to me, hey, snap out of it now, dude. And that's when I get back to myself. So yeah.
Now you're speaking about identity and who you are, and I know a lot of women are watching, whether they watch it right now or watching it a bit later. And there are women in small towns, like you are from Port Elizabeth, you grew up in New Brighton, and you had big dreams. And there are girls watching, or young women who right now watching, and they have big dreams, and they're maybe in a small town somewhere, but they're being reached by the internet. What would you say to those young women, and maybe even to a younger version of yourself?
Oh, younger version of myself. I'm like, go get it, girl. Get it. The world is your oyster and beyond. For me, it's so exciting when I'm speaking to a young woman. And it's exciting because this is why I do what I do. If I am not able to leave my mark and make you feel like you can do absolutely anything, and if I have not inspired you, then I'm like, why am I breathing? And my vision is to be an example of God's unlimited glory. So just through whatever I'm posting, if you see me on a Beyonce music video and be like, wait, what? Where did that come from? Beyonce handpicked Lady Nam. And that just shows it's not her, God orchestrated that. God, I know who I am, and I know what I'm destined for, and I know the promises he has for me. I've literally taken a hold, and I've worn it, that I'm of royal priesthood. I'm a daughter of the Most High. So hello, the riches are all mine, and milk and honey, and then some. There's no limitations. And I want that young girl to look at themselves in a completely different way and say, you know what? Yes, the world might think it's a big deal to be handpicked by Beyonce, but that's nothing to what God can do and then some. You know, no matter where you are, and the internet nowadays, I mean, my gosh, you know, the world truly has become smaller. And I think with COVID, and now we're in the fourth industrial revolution and everything is digital, it has made dreams more accessible. You know, you're able to reach anyone in a different part of the world. So if I can do it, you know, Nambitha Ben-Mazwi was a Bai in PE who used to be in children's church and Kingdom Kids, and, you know, was the one of the Sunday school teachers. If I can, you know, imagine what more you can do. So yeah.
Now we need to know, Nambitha, being handpicked by Beyonce, it is a big deal. It's a big deal to us. You have to tell us how did it happen? How did it feel? Tell us about the experience.
Listen, I will not lie, Tia. I still feel like it's sinking in. I'm a delayed reaction type of woman, but I think mostly because we had to keep it a secret for almost a year. You know, we shot this in December last year, and the NDA is so strict. We couldn't say anything, even when I would come back at 4 a.m. from on set. And it, you know, people think this is a glamorous life. It is not. You know, a lot of the scenes we're shooting were at 3 a.m. outside in gale force winds and rain, like a rainstorm. And here you're wearing this small outfit, like as if you're in the beach. And you are in very painful high heels, and you just have to do those takes, and you give of yourself every single time. And people don't realize how much work and sacrifice and how difficult and uncomfortable it is. So even going through that, I mean, it was absolutely incredible. I think the one thing I do remember, and traveling to Mpumalanga and really getting to showcase our and tell us true South African stories. That for me was the most important, you know, showcasing our culture, showcasing our beauty, putting it up there for the world to be in awe of, you know, and that for me was the most important thing, you know, is that we're all kings and queens, you know, and we're recognized. And I love what Beyonce was doing is she put herself on the back and she showcased African talent in the front. And that for me, you know, is an exciting trajectory shift that's happening in the world. Africa is the in thing right now. You know, everyone is in awe of our talents, our fashion, our culture, our riches, and who we are. You know, I honestly believe that we're very special people. And having lived in New York, I saw the impact and the zest that South Africans have. So it was awesome. It was incredible.
Now let's just get to New York, because I know in 2012 you left everything. You were in New York and you decided to pursue your career in acting, and that was very brave, very brave. Yeah. Looking back, would you advise anybody else to do what you did, leaving everything and just going for your dream in New York? Were you there all alone by yourself, or what?
I was there all alone. Tia, I think my family thinks I'm insane, and they've accepted that I'm insane. They know that with her, if she's going to a different country by herself, just wait for the unexpected, you know. my family, I think, has just accepted that we don't know what stunts she will pull this time. But it's my carefree nature, you know. I think it also helps being a last born, because you're more braver, you know. And I think parents are just more, you're the third one now, you know, move along, do whatever, you know, we don't have to stress about you. So I was, my mom raised me with, my mom raised me with a great deal of independence, so which helped me and equipped me. Being able to travel by myself, which I do quite a lot. But that was a very bold move. And, you know, that was the shift for me. I remember being in corporate and having a chat with one of my best friends, Nkuli, and she was telling me she's, you know, also quit work and she's going to pursue studying design in Florence, Italy. And I was just like, wait, what? And she then encouraged me. She says, I know where your heart truly lies. And as much as you're brilliant at your corporate work, you are so talented and you can just freaking kill it, you know? And she encouraged me and she birthed it. And I remember just having a very authentic, honest conversation with myself in front of the mirror, which I encourage every person to do, where if you can afford to, obviously, unless, you know, you need to be responsible. Then I was, you know, young, single, didn't have, you know, children, mortgage under my name, you know, responsibilities where I can just up and go. But I had a very honest conversation with myself and I asked myself, is this really how you're going to change the world? And I was like, no, not in this office, not with me working until early hours of the morning, Saturdays going into the office. Am I truly fulfilled? And I said no, because what was missing was my favorite hobby, you know, which, you know, emceeing, entertainment, you know, and so forth. So I was still finding myself because I didn't think that I could really turn the arts into a career. I always saw it as a hobby. And then I asked myself, are you truly staying true to yourself? Is this your true core purpose? And I was like, okay, I put in my resignation. I negotiated a good package. And I had always had aspirations, even within the corporate world. I communicated with my company that I wanted to work and get global experience in New York. So while I was there, oh my gosh, the first 2 days, I think I was a tourist, then I got over it. And I had made all of these meetings, which, again, God ordained. I mean, I don't believe in coincidence. We know that. You know, God is always at work. He is just orchestrating everything. And, you know, I met a very influential young man called Ilan Kometz. And he gave me 3 pages of contacts, like the VP of NBC to the VP of CNN. I mean, all in broadcasting. And he worked in broadcasting. And he said, what I want you to do, and he believed in me. This was a complete stranger I met for coffee. And he said to me, that you're going to call every single person and you're going to name drop me and they're going to shut you down, but you're not going to stop until you solidify one lunch date. Someone has to meet you. And when you do that, after that, you're going to try and get on TV. I was like, what? And then he's like, okay, then you're going to find a place and then buy time and do this. And I only had a plan of going there for 2 weeks. And on my 3rd day there, I got over the sightseeing and I just started cold calling all of these contacts. And I was like, hi, this is who I am. I'm Ilan Kometz's friend. This is what I do. Let's meet up. And I got a lot of, you know, New York is a tough city. It's like, I don't waste my time. Whatever, girl. Da-da-da-da. Get out of here. Until really there was a young man, David Soresi. He was just like, would love to meet you. Sure. You know, and it's that perseverance of not taking no's and just seeing a no as a redirection. Okay. And, but also the people I met in New York, the friends I made, and these were all introductions, were people who God sent into my life and that still are in my life. And they orchestrated everything. Oh, I'll introduce you to my friend. He owns a comedy club. He just opened it. I'm sure there's something you can do there. And I was hosting there, just an introduction. And he gave me the offer. And so every single thing, it was literally from the people God was placing in my life and me just being bold, being brave, presenting myself. I didn't have anything to lose at the time. And all I was doing is I was staying true to myself. And that was a promise I made. And that's when I started to realize that focusing on my strengths in New York led me to realize that this is what I'm called to do. This is what I want to pursue. And I can make this and turn it into a career. So, yeah.
Thank you. That's amazing. What a testimony. That is the hard work you've put in, the no's you've had to face, the insecurities and the doubts, but you've just done it. You've been so brave. Now, Nambitha, that's led you to where you are now. And this is the first dramedy you've done. This is How to Ruin Christmas, the Wedding. Yes. And I'm very excited about this. I can't wait to see you in this. Tell us about your latest role.
Fifi Refilwe, she is sure she's spicy. She's a lot, but in a good way. I really like, to be brutally honest with you, as much as I'm so excited about this being a part of, you know, an Africa original Netflix show, which was on my prayer list. I was like, God, I have to be in one of those. Come on. I need to be part of Africa's First. And of course, God hears, and boom, here it is. But with that being said, when I was praying and I asked God, I want to go into a new level now. I'm ready. And I said, I asked for these challenges. I said, challenge me, mold me, purify me, like just I'm ready to go to the next level. And I know that you need to, but did I get challenged during this show? I go back to my book because my quiet time, I like to write and talk to God. And I went back and I was like, oh my gosh, I did ask for this. Now it's happening. So now I need to just stop crying and just like hold fast and realize that there is purpose in this process. It was the most challenging shooting environment I've ever had to do. It was a difficult time. So we were in quarantine because obviously we shot during August and September. So already the emotional taxingness of it, where we were all booked into a hotel, cast, crew, production, everyone was booked into a hotel, and you were told the day before you got this role, packed for 6 weeks, and you might be able to stay depending on your COVID result. So as soon as you enter, we got tested for COVID. We then checked in. We had to self-isolate until everyone has their results. If you were positive, it was bye-bye, big brother house, goodbye, pack your bags, it's over. And if you were negative, well done, you got, now we're on to the next stage. So we were living in a bubble. We couldn't, speak to the outside world. We couldn't, nothing. You had a personal driver take you back and forth to set, and you stayed in a hotel room. So it was very challenging. It also, my industry isn't the most, healthiest. It can be extremely toxic. It's a daily reminder of I might be in this world, but I'm not of this world. So every single day I need to be so prayed up. I need to understand that I cannot at all, conform to this toxicity, conform to the worldly standards and the pressures and the toxicity of my environment. And it was very difficult there because there was no escape. I couldn't go home. I couldn't retreat to my friends. The only thing that kept me going was sell every Wednesday online, and I just see myself, family be like, guys, please pray for me. It's so hard. It was really challenging. It really was. And the cattiness as well, the politics, it can get really incredibly tough. So all of that was thrown at me, and then also I feel confined in this jail of quarantine. And I was like, but God, I understand this is supposed to help my character and mold me, and you're helping. I know that there's purpose in this process, but sure, it is hard now. There were times where I was so low, I had to drag myself to set and remember my why, my vision. But I'm so excited to see the end product, because it is an exciting show, because we're getting to show the world how us Africans throw weddings, and how we do weddings. So I'm very excited, but I have to mention the real and get real with you guys that it gets tough. As much as I'm so blessed to be a part of this Netflix show, no one really talks about the difficulties of the shooting experience, of the environment, and the challenges that come with that. So yeah.
We see the glamour, and we see the photos and the stories of you in the Herald and wherever else, but we don't actually see what you've gone through. And I know you are unashamedly, you serve the Lord unashamedly in your industry, and I can't imagine that that's very easy. It must be challenging. But Nambitha, that's why I want to give you another opportunity just before we close. I know that you came here and you said to me, you want the Lord to speak through you tonight, and you want to touch people. Is there something specific? I just want to give you the last, is there anything you want to say that's on your heart right now to women from your She Speaks movement, or anything that you want to that's been on your heart that you want to share?
You know what? What's on my heart is, I just feel in the spirit, a lot of people are trying to hold on. their last thread.
Yes.
And I've just been feeling this. I mean, also from just sharing to you that, you know, this girl reached out to me and she's just like, I don't want to be alive anymore, you know. My own, you know, personal, you know, I actually took, I recognize the season that I'm in right now. And it's birthed from that prayer of me saying, God, mold me, you know, purify me, you know. I know that you need to do this to my character in order to go to the next level and the next level and the next level. And I understand the important call that I have over my life, the destiny of reaching the ends of the world, and the challenges and the responsibility that comes with that, and how my character needs to continuously be molded. So as much as I put that prayer out there, and as much as this year has been incredibly amazing, my gosh, it has also been extremely difficult. Emotionally, mentally, I think with COVID, you know, everyone has been dealing with very difficult moments, whether it is personal, whether it is financial, whether it is just the mental breakdown and mental health. So for me, I've been holding on to the affirmations. And for me, what helps is almost brainwash yourself. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath. Like, just when you are in pain and you're feeling weak, just keep telling yourself, I'm strong, I'm strong, I'm strong, I'm strong. And when you can't carry it anymore, give it to God. You know, not by might, not by power, but by his spirit, says the Lord. So if there are times where you literally cannot even get out of bed. So for me, I think, and I can feel God is using me, and I'm in the works of a testimony at the moment. So I'm not there yet, but my most challenging time this year, and it's still something that I am, you know, going through emotionally. You know, in May, I was diagnosed with a chronic illness called endometriosis. And the fear, the anxiety, but mostly the pain that comes with it, because I have now chronic pain. Every 2 weeks, there are times where I'm on the floor and I can't walk. And the pain just attacks my body incredibly. And there's been a very personal, emotional struggle I've been going through with God. And I'm just like, why me? You know, and this is, we know sickness and disease doesn't come from God, but we do this. We're like, what did I do? Am I being punished? You know, it's the same thing with going through grief. You know, you're saying, but why? I don't understand. And there's some things that we will never understand. But it's also just being so conscious to not allow fear, and take that fear and say, okay, it's an opportunity for faith to lead. This is an opportunity. Okay, I've got this illness now, and you know, I don't have children yet. And I mean, I love children so much. And now there's this fear of fertility because this is the association with it. But I'm not going to give into that. I'm not going to identify this illness with me. It's not my identity at all. So I'm not going to, oh, I'm Nambitha Ben-Mazwi and I'm an endometriosis warrior and survivor and so forth. So I went through emergency surgery alone, you know, scary time during COVID, no visitors, away from family. And I was just like, but Lord, why, you know? So I'm still going through understanding, trying to find the purpose in this process. I'm trying to find the purpose in how I can use this to share my story, to help others, and to understand the true purpose in this process of this burden that I'm currently carrying, and overcoming those moments, you know, the pain and even now, you know, I am in pain and I'm just like, oh no, you know, God, take over. Satan, hold up. You know, I've got bigger things to achieve here. I need to minister to people. I have hearts that are open and God needs to speak through me to them. So I'm in the midst of a testimony, and I'd like to encourage everyone who's at their last ends to hold on and try and find the purpose in this process, because my gosh, only afterwards when we look back, we're like, oh. And funny enough, we'll even thank the Lord that we went through that, because the glory that comes afterwards, the molding of your character and the person you become afterwards, the different type of strength, the different unwavering faith that comes with it, the peace that comes with it after overcoming trials and tribulations, and how you blossom, into something incredible, and how God uses your story to change others. So I'm expectant, I'm excited, and I'm holding on. Yeah.
Oh, Nambitha, I just want to say thank you for sharing that with us and for being vulnerable, because I'd read the article that you'd gone through emergency surgery, but I specifically didn't ask because you had said that you would speak to people when you were ready to speak, and I just didn't want to put you in. I'm just so grateful that you were able to open up about it and to share with us, because I know that there are women who are listening who are facing similar trials, and even even this morning in the church service, somebody said, I've been praying for 5 years to be pregnant. Fertility is an issue, and even the fear of not having that possibility. And I just want to say thank you. That was incredibly encouraging. And I was so encouraged just listening to you tonight. The boldness, the courage, the bravery. And just thank you for joining us. And that is how I'm just so happy that I was able to interview you tonight. And I just want to say thank you for everybody online. Sorry, it was like bowling. Thank you, everybody.
I wish I could see the interactions.
The interaction.
Yes.
Well, let me just quickly have a look. Why
Hello,
have you
everybody.
online? Oh, Pastor Jimmy was sharing quite a lot, and we had Elise Buerta just tagging. Thank you for tagging. And Marianne Litter, I don't know if you remember Pastor Marianne.
Yes, of course.
And I know you. And we have Delphine Morton, Auntie Delphine, and we had I can't see all of the comments, but we've had quite a few shares, and that is thank you everybody for sharing and for tagging. Please continue to do so. Share this stream on WhatsApp with all of your contacts and just have people listen. It's a very encouraging message, and we've had such a wonderful testimony from Nambitha tonight. Thank you for joining us, Lady Nam, and all of the best.
Thank you.
Difficulty, but we can't wait to see you in your latest role, How to Ruin Christmas, the Wedding, on Netflix. Have a look out for Nambitha's for that specific one, but also go and look at Black Mirror and go and look at her in Madiba, and you can also see her in Beyonce's Black is King visual album. Go and have a look at that. Thank you for joining us, Nambitha. And with this, we say goodbye to everyone. You can greet everybody, Nambitha.
Yay! Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Sure, what an honor. It's so exciting. I mean, for me, I grow so much from being able to be given a platform, and especially at Word of Faith, that's home for me, I was so blessed by the opportunity to speak at Girlfriend's Evening 2018, I think. Yes. So I'm so grateful to Pastor Jimmy and Pastor Mariana. I'm honored. Thank you so much. Thank you for sowing the seeds, in my life, the Proverbs, training up a child in the way he should go, because I'm a true testament to that. And I will always, absolutely always, whenever I'm asked to share on this platform, I am like, yes, Lord, use me. I'm merely a vessel and a servant. So thank you so much for having me. I'm truly honored and humbled.
Thank you, everyone.